Hey, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us here on Polk Place. I'm Brian Lacey, and I want to talk to you a little bit about volunteering, and if you're going to volunteer for somebody, American Red Cross here in Polk County community is somebody that you want to be introduced to. And joining us in studio is Tina Sweeten. She's the Executive Director for the American Red Cross of Mid-Florida. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, so the American Red Cross, we are about 90% volunteer-led. So when you look at our staffing pattern for the 6 counties I cover, which are Polk, Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, Lake, and Sumter counties, we have 4 paid staff that are focusing on those 6 counties, and we have about 435 volunteers who work with us, which might sound like a lot, but we need more. Mm-hmm. Primarily when people think of the Red Cross, they think about large disasters like hurricanes, and they've seen us on the news with our Red Cross vests on, things like that. But the number one thing that we respond to every single day, especially in our 6 counties, we have a lot of them, are home fires. Mm-hmm. And our volunteers, our disaster action team volunteers, they go out within a 2-hour time frame after getting dispatched by the local fire departments to help people who have just experienced a home fire. We make sure that their immediate needs are met for that day or night when the fire occurs. So we'll be able to give them some cash assistance, some clothing, or some money to buy clothing, food, get a hotel room. And then we need caseworkers. And the caseworkers then work with the family to connect them with other resources in the community so that they can recover. In that process, we also have disaster mental health workers who will work with the family if there's mental health needs. We have disaster health services, nurses who can help the family get new prescriptions or durable medical equipment or things that glasses, things that they may have lost in the fire that the nurses then can help them get replaced. So as you can see, we need all types of volunteers. Volunteers that have special skills or licenses, but also just volunteers that can help us go out to a fire at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. We're celebrating the 20th anniversary of 3 hurricanes crisscrossing throughout Polk County, and there were certain areas that weren't hit, and we had a lot of volunteers, both local and from far away, come in and help us. On the bigger disasters such as a hurricane, talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you need folks to do. It isn't always sexy work. No. But it is work that needs to be done.
Right, and it's very rewarding work, even if sometimes you think, what the heck? Yeah, when we have a large disaster, we need local volunteers to help us to, number one, shelter. Our main mission is mass care, so it's sheltering, it's feeding. Those are the 2 things that have to get done at the very beginning of a disaster. So as most people know, here in Polk County, prior to a storm happening, if the emergency manager feels like the storm's going to hit Polk County, then pre-storm shelters will be open. Those are managed by the county, and they're primarily our school buildings. After the storm goes through, however, if people cannot go back to their homes because there's so much damage, then shelters would be opened by the Red Cross. And so those shelters, we need people to come in, manage the shelter, work with the clients that are in there. I always say Red Cross doesn't cook, so there won't be any cooking involved. However, we do feed people, and that's where we partner with other local organizations who do feeding, like the Salvation Army or the Baptist, their disaster crew that comes in with their large kitchens. In addition to that, we need caseworkers who can work with the families to help them get back to regular life, find a new place to stay, or help them, get their insurance working, or help them, get to where FEMA is filling out forms, those kinds of things. In addition to that, we have all kinds of other opportunities. So if you're a nurse, we need nurses in all the shelters. If you're a communicator, we need somebody to help us speaking to the press. If you're somebody that has a background in HR. You know, we bring in hundreds of responders, so you can imagine it's just like having a large company. You may have HR issues that need to be dealt with. Really, there's a whole gamut. If you like to work in the warehouse, we open warehouses. If you want to drive a box truck, we drive box trucks. You know, we have our emergency response vehicles out, and we're feeding people in their neighborhoods. If they don't want to go to the shelter, they want to stay in their home. So we need people to become drivers of our emergency response vehicles so that they can drive the food out to the communities and feed people. So there is just a whole gamut of things that people can do during a disaster. In addition to that, when we have a local disaster and it's affected our community, we need people to come into the office and answer the phones for us and answer the door for us, because people are going to be coming to the Red Cross to get help, and most times staff are in the field. So we need people that are willing to come in and help in the office setting if that's something that you would rather do. And our responders locally, once you become a responder, you then are eligible to deploy either locally, regionally, which would be across our 19 counties in Central Florida, statewide, which would be anywhere in Florida, or nationally, anywhere in the United States, and our areas that, like Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Guam, those places. So
I want to talk a little bit about your service. When it comes to volunteering, you not only talk the talk, but in a previous life, you walk the walk.
I did.
Talk to me about the years of service that you gave to Red Cross that inevitably led you to this position.
Yeah. So when I was 12 years old, I started out as a candy striper in our local children's hospital, and at that time that program was run by the Red Cross. So I was a Red Cross volunteer doing candy striping in the children's hospital, and then, you know, throughout the years I was a blood donor. I became a lifeguard. I taught first aid CPR courses. I became a disaster action team member, and I responded to fires on weekends. So I would start on Friday night, I would end on Sunday, but any fires that happened in that period in my community, I responded to them. So I've held a lot. I was a shelter worker. I did a lot of things for Red Cross, and Red Cross has always been a part of my life. It was something that my mom was very passionate about. As a nurse, she helped with the Red Cross. So when I had the opportunity to take a paid position, finally, I did that. But many of our employees have Red Cross stories. They were either a volunteer or they were helped by Red Cross. When I was in high school, my mom got sick and she had leukemia, so she needed platelet donation. And I was only 16 at the time, and so the local blood donation center was a Red Cross center, and the nurses at that center, they totally took care of me. I was there every day after school for 6 months giving platelet donations, and that became my family. So for me, it's not just a job. I truly believe in our mission. I truly believe in the work that we do, and I love being able to be that hope for our community when things are going not so great.
We got less than a minute left. What I want you to do, let folks know how, when, where, everything that they need to do to join you volunteering, and inspire them to do such.
Great.
Please.
Yes, I highly recommend the Red Cross as a place to volunteer, and all you have to do is go to the link. It's redcross.org, really easy to remember. Find the volunteer link, and that will take you through a process of filling out your application. Once that application is done, it comes to the local chapter, and you'll be contacted by one of our employees to get you started.
Well, Tina, I want to thank you for coming in, and don't be a stranger. Anytime that you need to promote anything or any kind of help that we can help you, anything you do that we can help you with,
great.
Come back and see me, will you please?
I will. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
American Red Cross volunteers touch lives every day. Each volunteer experience is unique, where your background, talents, and skills can make a positive impact on the lives of those who need it most. Now, from helping people affected by disasters like home fires and floods, to supporting our U.S. military members, veterans, and families, their humanitarian work is only possible because of people like you. Now, for details on how you can make a difference, make sure you call them 863-294-5941 or look them up on the web at redcross.org.
If you enjoyed that episode of Polk Place, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and even check out the next one.